In the iPhone's history, there have been 3 moments that felt like magic. That first time you ever slide to unlock, when the iPhone 4 came out with its Retina display and square sides, the iPhone 10 with Face ID, OLED screen, and major redesign. And now we have number 4, the iPhone Air. While it seems like the weight and thickness of an iPhone shouldn't be that drastic of a change, many times using the iPhone Air has that same feeling. From one-handed use to carrying it around and typing on something that feels wafer thin, the iPhone Air is the 4th moment in the iPhone history where it's taken a giant leap forward. This is my iPhone Air review. Now, there's been many great reviews out there that talk about the specs and go in detail about what's under the hood, but I want to focus on 4 things. Number 1, the biggest reason to get iPhone Air, which is the form factor and design. And even though that one selling point is a huge deal, there are 3 caveats that if you want the iPhone Air to be your main device, you do need to overcome. That's its solo speaker, no stereo speakers, the single lens camera, no ultra wide or telephoto lens, and yes, we have to talk about battery life. But let's start with what makes this phone so striking: the form factor. After years of using Pro Max phones, holding and using iPhone Air almost feels like you're holding nothing in your hands. Typing on it feels like there's almost nothing between my thumbs and pointers behind the phone. There's been even times where I forget which pocket I put the phone in and I couldn't even feel the weight to know which it is. But do those differences actually translate to day-to-day benefits? I actually think so. There are many times I use my iPhone one-handed, whether it's typing or trying to send something to social media. I went grocery shopping with the iPhone Air, and many times I'm pushing the cart and scrolling a list with my other hand. And I find the iPhone Air so much easier to use one-handed and secure. I haven't been using a case or even the bumper on iPhone Air since I've had it, and I've not felt like I'm going to drop it. That extremely thin form factor feels secure in the hand, whether I'm using it one or two-handed. And whether it's in your pocket or you're walking and using your phone at the same time, having a phone this light, it's really nice just to not feel like you're carrying a brick. Speaking of, I also have the iPhone 17 Pro Max, which I'll be reviewing soon, so get subscribed. But if the iPhone is a rock, namely a diamond, then the iPhone 17 Pro Max is definitely the brick. Utilitarian, powerful, and yeah, thick. After using the iPhone Air for several days, picking up my 16 Pro Max or the 17 Pro Max, it is a stark difference. And I regularly wanted to go back to the Air so I didn't have to carry that heavy thing around. But not only is it nice to carry and hold, it's nice to look at. The shiny titanium sides, the single camera on the back, and while the colors are pretty muted, I had several people ask me if this was the white model, and I had to tell them no, it's hospital white, sky blue. Bottom line, the iPhone Air is beautifully designed. Now, what are the trade-offs if you want to use something that looks this nice and feels this light? Well, I'm going to go in increasing concern. The iPhone Air has a single speaker. The holes at the bottom are just for the microphones. The only place sound will come out is up here near the earpiece. Now, if you regularly listen to audio out of the phone speakers without using AirPods or maybe listen to podcasts, you will definitely notice the difference. Here's the iPhone Air speakers. And here's the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Here's the iPhone Air volume all the way up. And here's the iPhone 17 Pro Max volume all the way up. I'll make sure to turn off any audio leveling or voice isolation for that test. But obviously you're going to get more volume and just a better sound from the stereo speakers on a Pro or Pro Max phone. But that's not to say that the speaker is horrible. If you just wanted to casually listen to music, or if you listen to a lot of podcasts, which I did on the iPhone Air, it's fine. It sounds a little tinny. It doesn't sound very beefy, especially if you're listening to music. But if you're wearing AirPods, which I just reviewed AirPods Pro 3, which I actually find to sound incredible. I'll link that review above. AirPods most of the time with iPhone Air kind of obfuscates the concern for the speaker. So you know your listening habits. If you're really dependent on that phone speaker, maybe that's a reason not to get it. But honestly, I don't think it's a deal breaker, and I think the form factor, thinness, and lightness overcomes that speaker neglect. Now, before I get to the single lens camera, I'm just going to give you a preview. The battery life is something you're going to struggle with. So get yourself a great charger, like this one from TORRAS. Let's be honest, if you go to iPhone Air, you're going to be charging at midday, and so this TORRAS charger can charge not only your iPhone, and it will charge as fast as possible, 67 watts is more than enough, but this retractable cable makes this super convenient. And not only can you charge with that retractable cable, but you have that second USB-C port. So you can charge your iPhone and iPad, maybe 2 iPhones if you need to, and of course it has the retractable plugs. As you can see, I took this iPhone Air off the charger at about 7:15 this morning, and at 4:30, get that retractable cable from your TORRAS charger, plug it in, and now you can fast charge your iPhone Air. and it's plenty long. I've seen some chargers like this where that cable's a little short, but this one, you have 40 inches of cable, plenty of room for activities, and again, that second USB-C port. It's on sale right now on Amazon. You can get it for 46 bucks, and if you want to go down to that 40-watt version, you can save a little bit getting it at 35. My thanks to TORRAS for sponsoring this video and keeping my iPhone Air charged. But then comes number 2, the camera. Now, I took both phones, the iPhone Air and iPhone 17 Pro Max, to several locations to try out the photos. Now, with the iPhone Air, you get one lens. It's a great camera, 48 megapixel. You do get the 1x and that 2x 12 megapixel crop zoom, which looks good. It takes great photos. But anytime you might want to get closer to a subject, like with a telephoto lens, or if you're standing in front of something and wish you could have an ultra wide to get the whole scene, you're just not going to have that on the iPhone Air. This really depends on your photo habits, but I have found that I use the telephoto and ultra wide a lot. Now, if you use iCloud Photos and you have a Mac, you can actually see how many photos and which ones were taken with the telephoto and ultra wide lens. Just create a new Smart Album here in Photos on the Mac, go up to File, New Smart Album, and then add 2 criteria. Say match any of the following conditions: focal length is 2.2 millimeters, and focal length is 15.66. This is going to pull the 16 Pro and Pro Max and 15 Pro and Pro Max ultra wide and telephoto photos. And once I looked this up and saw all the photos that I had taken with telephoto and ultra wide, it was clear. I use it a lot. There was over 1,000 photos just from the last 2 years. You can always jump into a photo, look at the EXIF data by clicking the eye icon, and you can confirm this was the telephoto camera, the 120 millimeter equivalent. I think this is a great exercise to see how much or how often you would miss those telephoto or ultra-wide lenses. And one of the things that sealed the deal for me is when I went to WWDC, I was sitting towards the back of the media section, and I used the 5X camera to take photos of everything, all the screens, everything that was going on stage. So it was a big enough deal for me. I'll show you a couple more side-by-side comparisons. Here are the same photos, iPhone Air and iPhone 17 Pro Max. And here's what it looks like to zoom in, which you can digitally zoom in to about 6X on iPhone Air, versus the 8X, which the telephoto lens on the iPhone 17 Pro Max is now 48 megapixels, and both the video and photos you can take with that telephoto lens looks really great. So if you're going to be in situations, maybe you have kids, you go to sports games, maybe you're at concerts, and you really want to get those close-up photos of what's going on stage, that telephoto lens really goes a long way. Not to mention macro photography, which I don't do a ton, but that ultra-wide lens is going to be great for macro photography this year, also being a 48 megapixel sensor. So on the iPhone Air, you can go to that 2x 12 megapixel crop, and then you can digitally zoom to about 10x, but as you can see, that's not going to look anywhere near as good as the 4x or 8x on the 17 Pro Max. It's a digital crop, so you're losing a bunch of pixels and frame of the photo. So look at your usage. If you're a casual photo taker, you're not big into the telephoto and the ultra wide, I would look in your Photos app to confirm the iPhone Air single 48 megapixel camera might be great for you. For me, long term, that kind of ended the deal. But then the next part helped seal the deal, which was battery life. Now, I've been testing it for 4 days. I set it up on Sunday evening. Right now it is Wednesday evening, so 3.5 days. The first day, I understand it was a wash. When you first set up a new iPhone, I restored it from iCloud backup. There's a lot of indexing, downloading of emails, things going on behind the scenes. But I took it off the charger at 100%, 7:30 in the morning. Used it for a few hours. It had about 2 to 3 hours of screen on time, and 6 hours later, it was down to 10%. I then slapped on the iPhone Air MagSafe battery, the one phone that you can use this battery pack with. It charged the iPhone to 57%, totally exhausted the MagSafe battery, and then it went down to 20% at 7:10. And iPhone Air finally died at 10:22 p.m. So even on that first day with indexing, I made it all the way to 10:20 p.m. with the iPhone Air and the MagSafe battery. Day 2, took it off the charger at 7:50 a.m. at 100%. Used it like normal, about 3.5 hours of screen on time, and it got down to 17% at 5:25. I think more indicative of what it's going to look like in day-to-day use. And as you can see today, I took it off the charger at 7:15 this morning. It's now 4:40, and I'm down to 20%. And there's low power mode enabling, which then slows down ProMotion and all that stuff. And as you can see, 3.5 hours of screen on time. I did try to use it like normal with maps, posting things on Instagram, doing some music playing. Bottom line, if you want to get through a day or you have heavy usage, you're going to have to charge it halfway through or use a MagSafe battery. Now, a little bit of real talk. I had people on social media saying, well, you need to turn off all the background app refresh and turn off this and that. Listen, if you buy a phone and you want to use the features of the phone, you shouldn't have to turn off all those features just to be good with the battery. I understand this is a very thin phone, physics, you can't put a huge battery in this, totally get it. Can you get through a day with light to medium light usage? Yes, you should be fine. If you're doing a lot of directions or you can't charge in your car or at work, and you're going to be doing a lot of scrolling on Instagram, or maybe you're taking a lot of photos, just be prepared to charge at midday or have some MagSafe battery packs with you. I think for most people, the Air MagSafe Battery, which is one of the thinnest and is probably the one you should go with if you're getting an iPhone Air, it keeps the phone and the form factor pretty light. You can see the battery percentage in the battery widget on your iPhone Air, which is nice. Just know what you're getting into. Days of heavy usage, if you're traveling, if you're at a conference, which I've been to many conferences, and that's notorious for killing iPhone battery, you're gonna have to charge it maybe multiple times that day or get a bigger MagSafe battery pack. I'm gonna do a whole video on my favorite MagSafe battery packs for iPhone 17, but right now I actually really like this UGREEN Qi 2.2 25-watt charger. It actually has a USB-C cable here, which is gonna charge your phone even faster, but it will do a decent job charging wirelessly. It is thick. I mean, this thing is like, what, 3 iPhone Airs thick, but it's gonna get you the juice. If you want something a little thinner, one of my favorites is still the Anker Ultraslim 10K, this, or the UGREEN. That's going to help you get through the day with your iPhone Air. As you would expect, it's a thin phone with a thin battery. That's something you're going to have to manage if you're a heavy user. And a lot of people said, well, if you're a power user, the iPhone Air is not for you. Maybe, but I really like the iPhone Air. It's really thin, it's really light. I enjoy using it one-handed. It does have a great camera. The screen has the same brightness, it has ProMotion, same pixel density as the iPhone 17 Pro Max. So the screen is great, the camera is good, the speaker, I can use AirPods. But the bottom line is, are those 3 hurdles too high for you? I said it at the beginning of this video. I think the iPhone Air and this form factor is the next huge leap for iPhone. I think Apple is setting the stage for a foldable phone, but the iPhone Air being this thin and this light lets the iPhone 17 Pro Max and Pro be thicker and heavier and have a bigger battery. And those who are pros and want to use all the pro camera features and do lots of stuff on their phone all day, that's the Pro. I'll be honest, when it comes to design and how these phones look, I prefer the Air. I think it looks nicer. I like the shiny sides. I think I can finally use it without a case, without fear of dropping. But for me personally, those hurdles are still too great. I use the telephoto camera too much. I use the ultra wide. I don't want to think about battery life that much. And when I do play something out of the speakers of my phone, maybe sharing it with friends and family, I like to make sure it's a good volume. That's why even though the iPhone Air is a huge leap forward and is going to be an excellent phone for a lot of people, it's not going to be for me. Again, if these 2 phones were rocks, this being a diamond and the 17 Pro Max being a brick, I think I choose the brick this year. But if this one ever gets another camera and we see advances in battery life, it's going to be an extremely compelling phone. Oh, and one other quick word before we go. I did get the iPhone Air bumper case. This is a no back, no front case. It is just for the edges. This feels way more plasticky than I expected. And to be honest, I'm just not crazy about the bumper. I mean, if you drop this, it might protect the sides, but this back is still wide open. That camera plateau is plenty big. I would not go for the bumper case personally. If you wanted to put a case on it, and I would recommend you don't, because it does feel really good without a case. Ryan London does make a great leather case. It is still thin, it is still light, but you do lose some of that feltness and the beauty of the iPhone Air. If you're gonna go iPhone 17 Pro Max like me though, I know the case you should get. This is my Hunter green leather case from Ondar. It's real leather, it feels great, has the sapphire camera control button, looks great, especially if you get the orange. If you want that Michelangelo Ninja Turtle look, this is the case to go with. You can get this at beard.fm/case. And like I mentioned, if you want to see my full AirPods Pro 3 review, I'll link that above. And get subscribed and hit that like button because I'm going to be doing a full review on the iPhone 17 Pro Max very soon, plus a bunch of other video content. Or if you missed my iOS 26 and macOS Tahoe videos, I have full reviews of the software and some great shortcuts for Apple Intelligence. I'll actually put that video right up here. If you have any questions on the iPhone Air or your thoughts if you're an Air user or maybe you went Pro, let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.